Hi everyone, and welcome back to Something is Up. Today I am joined by Karyn Reece. Karyn is a well-known medium, respected for her clear, evidential style of mediumship and for working with high-profile clients including Hollywood celebrities and CEOs. In this episode, we do something a bit different. We begin with a conversation about Karyn's story, what mediumship feels like from the inside, how information comes through, and how spirits communicate with her. Then we move into a couple of live readings with people joining us in real time whom Karyn has no prior knowledge of. Towards the end, we briefly touch on the UFO and UAP topic, including how Karyn thinks about non-human intelligence, the idea of a threat narrative, and her own experience with the phenomenon back in New Mexico. This is my conversation with Karyn Reece. Enjoy. Hey, Karyn. Good morning or good afternoon? What time is it for you?
It's about 1 o'clock Eastern Standard PM, afternoon.
So, good afternoon. And thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate your time. And I'm super excited about talking to you today.
Well, I got to tell you, thank you for having me. It's funny because I get asked quite a bit to do different, media events. And for some reason, when I looked at yours, I'm like, oh, there's something very unique. You had all these bright lights when I look, because when I see people, I'll see lights pop off the page and then I see little messages. So I'm like, there's something special about Antonio. Not to mention that you're from Italy, one of my favorite places. So,
Thank you very
buongiorno,
much.
with an
Thank you very
Italian
much.
grammar.
Well, it was not let's say, I'm an engineer. I've been an engineer all my life and close now to this space of investigating what a lot of people call the paranormal, etc. Just for the last few years, and I find myself to have been a completely different person already. I would have immediately dismissed what you said before a few years ago, or lights popping out of the page, and now instead I want to know. Wow, tell me the colors. What kind of lights were there?
Yeah, life is like a box of chocolate too. You never know what you're going to get. So, but
Exactly.
it's funny because this industry pulls you, and I say industry lightly, but the other realms will pull you if this is the type of work you're meant to do. And we all are like vibrational beings, right? We all have frequencies. You can monitor that with various technologies, which I'm sure being an engineer, that's your forte. It's your wheelhouse, and so you could actually measure results. You can see it with video now. There's so many other ways of doing it. So when you're meant to go into this world, you're meant to go in, which it's, I think your story is very fascinating too, being an engineer and, being pulled into this, what would feel so opposite. But then again, you look at Da Vinci, he brought both, science and art together.
I compare myself to Da Vinci, but um, I understand completely what you say. It's it seems like either, I mean, your story is very particular because, and I want to talk to you about it. And I've already done an introduction for the audience, but I would like you to introduce yourself and maybe start from the beginning. And my understanding is that you had these abilities since childhood, and for a while you decided not to pursue this, let's say, field of work or field of study, and at some point you were called back into the mediumship abilities that you had, and you felt that it was the right time to embrace it. And from my side, I don't have mediumship abilities, at least not that I know of right now, but it was like something happened and my life took a completely different course in the last few years. And I am finding that those things don't happen for um, as a coincidence or for no reason. There's always a reason that is sometimes difficult to see at the beginning, and maybe in hindsight I will understand better what the reason was. But tell me your story.
Oh, well, so ever since I can remember, I would see spirit people when I was in my crib, and I would know things ahead of time. And it didn't help. My mom would walk by and say, "Oh my God, there's, great Uncle Frank, there's three monks." Of course, they were dead, or, there's going to be a train crash the next day. So I thought it was normal. We would go shopping, maybe grocery store, what have you. My brother, myself, who's also gifted, and we would see like I don't know dead people, or I would just know things, whatever. But it's just like okay, you grow up around it. I was never told that this was different, but at age 7, I had this vision, repeated vision. I'd go to sleep, I'd wake up, and I kept seeing my father passing away. I saw him laid out in a blue casket. And then 3 weeks later, he suddenly passed away unexpectedly of a stroke. He was an engineer like you, so we have a lot of Mensa members on dad's side of the family, and that's when I became aware that not everybody could predict the future as well as see dead people. And I remember probably my teenage years, I remember going out of body, looking at this book, and it's part of the Akashic Records, which when we all pass over, we all have a book, and each book has a chapter of each lifetime. So you look at your life and you take a look, how well did you do? How, what, improvements have you made? Whatever, the whole 9 yards. And I remember reading in my book, which was a red leather book with gold letters, because I'm an Aries, I guess that's it. Everybody else had brown leather books in the library. But anyways, I remember seeing I would be on like national TV. And I always thought that I would do this. Now, throughout my life, I did it, but I didn't do it professionally when I was in school. I mean, it was just something that would happen. I have other cousins that are of the same on my mom's side of the family. And I was in school studying, arts and science. At one point, I was artistically gifted in my first, year in college. And science, I was excelling at. I'm like, do I want to be whatever, plastic surgeon? What do I want to do? And then I saw an advertisement to be a stockbroker. So I got my stockbroker's license, switched everything to business. I've always done everything ass backwards. Meanwhile, I kept, being reminded, you're going to be doing this full time. I'm like, yeah, when I'm 60 or 70 or 80, maybe down the road, maybe I'll go to law school. I took, the exam to do that. I almost did law school. But anyways, I got into the stock market, and it's really funny. I did that for a good, probably 5 to 7 years. And I got into other fields of money. But it was really weird how I got really pulled into this. 'Cause in my early 20s, I started to do it for a little business. And then at one point I was told, you need to quit your job and your business is going to snowball. I'm like, who said that? No, I'm not going to quit my job. This is absurd. And no shit, talk about the way the universe works. I ended up having a disagreement with a boss. Anyways, I ended up walking out, and I'm like, oh my God, you guys did this to me. Like, really, guys, you jerks, and they're like, ha 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 ha, and one of my guys happens to be named Ben, and he thinks it's funny. I have another one named David. Anyways, I go, figures, you crazy men. So anyways, no shit, my business started to snowball like within, a week, then the next week, then the next week. And then, for the last 25 years, I've been in practice. So that's how that worked. And it was funny too, because I remember answering a blind ad through the internet, and it was really weird how I received it. I don't even know how I came across it, but anyways, I answered it, and then I ended up going on national TV. I was selected out of 1,500 people that appeared for this, but I nailed it, and the rest is history. So here I am, So, and I don't sleep well, and the bloody spirits never help do anything like, I don't know, vacuum. That would be nice, but they don't do it. Cook because I can't cook. So,
But I assume that you are how so a million questions right now. Let's go in order. First of all, what was the mechanic for you at the beginning, and in the way you perceive this information? For example, your guide's telling you should quit your job, and has the mechanic changed over time? Did you develop clairs bit by bit? Were you completely open from the beginning? And how do you perceive this information? And this is me, the engineer, wanting to know the mechanic, because it helps me understand exactly, okay, is it sound that you perceive, in which part of the brain, etc., etc.?
So for me, I've always just seen, hear, and feel. So I'll see like TV screens. That's just something I've always done. So I'll see like little video screens of what could be coming up in the future. Maybe somebody's past, I remember being in my crib, seeing like a little TV screen. It's almost like it's out in the outer field, and I'm looking at it of a past life, things coming up in the future. And then when it comes to people on the other side, I see them. Sometimes I can see them clearer than other times, because it takes a lot of energy for spirit people to show themselves. Because you're dealing with different frequencies, different vibrational dimensions. So it takes a lot of energy for them as well as me. But so I see, hear, and feel. I have other sensories as well, but my primary is like seeing and then hearing, which is funny because my left ear, I can hear very well the spirit world. My right ear, I hear in this world. My left ear in this world is not very clear, but I can hear very well into the spirit world, which is a very common thing. You might get a deficit in one area of your life when you're a psychic, only because it allows you to use that particular, like in this case, my hearing into the other world. So, do I hear well in this world? No, but I can hear better in that world.
Understood.
So I'm all over the place. Yep.
And you're all over the place, but in a very powerful way. So it's good.
Reese's
Uh,
Pieces, baby. It's like Reese's Pieces. Triple, telling you, Antonio. you know, like, but all mediums, by the way, are psychics, but not all psychics are mediums. So mediums see past, or rather, mediums see, obviously dead people, but psychics see past, present, and future. And I don't use tools. I mean, anybody can use tools. Everybody has a little bit of ability, right? We get that pit in your stomach, that type of thing. Um, but not everybody. I mean, there's just different, levels of psychic abilities, I guess, with anything.
Yep. And
So.
that was my next question. So there's a lot of confusion in this field, especially for people that simply heard the word medium or psychic, and they might think it's exactly the same thing, but it's not. Can you be more specific? What are the differences between psychic abilities? So being a psychic and being a medium.
So as a medium, I can communicate to the spirit world. I can have a conversation, I can see them, I can go out of body, which most people do anyways in their dream state, and they'll see the other world. By the way, I got to tell you, your aura keeps blinking. It's fantastic. A lot of green in it today too, a lot of yellow, but we'll get into that in a moment because I see
Thank you.
auras. I look at people, I see like rainbows around them. It's like, decoration time, but psychics, on the other hand, they'll look at your past, present, and future. Sometimes look at past lives as well. Sometimes they use tools. Anybody can pick up a tool, though, whether it's cards, a crystal ball, whatever, a pendulum. So, you can use tools. Tools are fun. But to me, I was naturally gifted and I'm elevated high up there that I don't need a tool to get results. And you don't always get the specific results that they'll give you general or they'll give you a gist if you're using cards. They're fun, though. Where with what I do, I can do more with precision by seeing like little pictures, that way.
As an evidential medium,
Mhm.
what does that mean exactly? And what's the difference with somebody that is not evidential?
Well, with evidential, you can actually give evidence, whether it's a name. When I've used my artwork, which I don't always use a lot of, I might draw a face of somebody in the spirit world that relates to a person. So it's not something so general or benign. It has a little bit more teeth to it. As opposed to just saying, your grandmother's here. I know that we talked a few minutes earlier when I heard grandma's name and I heard mom's connection. So I heard your mom's name, and that's what I'm known for: names,
Oh,
numbers, dates, and details. But and the
and
problem with the industry.
they come in the form of sound. You hear them.
Yep. They'll talk to me. Sometimes I can hear them clear. Sometimes I might hear what I think they're saying, Aaron, and they could be saying Karyn. So sometimes they're Ari instead of Mary or Terry, that type of thing. So, or I might hear the name Antonio and say, is there a Tony connection? So I might hear, so again, because it does take a lot of energy. I'll hear them. Sometimes if I can't hear if somebody's coming in spiritually, I'll say, write it down, bring a notepad. Now, one of the things I'm known for, and it's really weird, the spirit world must be telling everybody on the spirit world. I get a lot of crime cases. It's so weird lately, but I crack a lot of cases because of names, numbers, and dates and times. And I swear to God, I hate to say it, but the victims on the other side are like, oh yeah, let's go to Karyn. Oh yeah, let's get, my sister, and then she can reveal, I'll tell, who murdered me. It's the craziest thing. So I've actually been doing it probably for 20 years. Just people get a hold of me. I was just telling somebody last night a funny story. About a year ago, I woke up and I go, oh my God, I've got jury duty again. I swear to God, you've got like a million people in, Buffalo, and I've got to be called. I know they're going to call me. It's going to be my third time, right? Third time's a charm. So of course I get my notice and I send back, oh, I can't do it. I'm too busy, some sort of lame. I'm like, they're not going to buy it. Of course they kicked it back and they're like, you have to report. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to call Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Thursday, they're going to have me come in. And this is like 2 weeks before. And then I said, you know what? It's a murder case. I said, I hear the name Robinson and I hear the name Hill. So of course I go in. All the other cases, or the other 2 times I should say that I was called in for jury, I don't know, it was like some sort of accident or some sort of something. So I show up, I call Thursday, I have to go in on Friday, and there's like 500 people. I walk in, and lo and behold, I find out it's a murder case. But it gets better in my world. So I'm like, terrific. I'm like, I don't want to, deal with this. I don't have time to take off of work, nor do I want to sit in this grungy place, right? Downtown court system. So they pile us into the room. I did not know that the two alleged murderers were going to be in front of me. And one of them's name was Robinson. The other one was Hill. Oh, and there was one other gentleman. I think it was Gonzalez or something like that. But anyways, all I know it was Rodriguez. But I'd heard these three names beforehand. All three of them are like 2 rows in front of me. I go, great, this is terrific. Because I was going to get up and tell the judge, you can't have me because I'll know that these, the perpetrators are going to be guilty or not guilty because I'm a psychic. But then I'm like, oh no, they're in front of me. I can't say that because I don't want them visiting my door because, they're crazy. Right. So I'm sitting behind, well, the one in particular, he's 2 rows up. I start seeing everything that he did. So I saw exactly what the three of these dopey kids did. They went in, it was, an armed robbery for drugs, yada, yada, yada. So naturally, when he called me, the judge said, Karyn, why can't you do it? And I said, well, to be honest with you, I'm a psychic medium. And a lot of people know who I'm in this town because I have my own, TV show here. So we all laughed and, they said, you can go. I'm like, thank God. But I really wanted to also say to the judge, by the way, I know you got a problem with your right foot. You really need to get that checked out. But I'm like, well, I can't go down that road. But
Yeah.
that's my world. I mean, I get hits all the time.
Mm.
So
It's a really strange world. Do you
you have no
feel?
idea.
Yeah, I don't. To be honest, I don't.
We're
I'm starting to perceive, but I honestly don't. But do you feel an acceleration, a shift, more people like developing this ability? Do you see reality expanding from this point of view, or the veil thinning? I don't know how to say.
That's a good question, Antonio. So yes, and no. So I think there's two factors here. I think more and more people are becoming more open to it. And for those that have the actual gifts, I mean, everybody does have intuition and psychic abilities, but more of a higher elevated gift, we'll say. Just like everybody can, draw stick figures, but not everybody's going to be a Da Vinci, right? So there's all different levels. So yes, people are becoming more aware. The energies are shifting. We're going through a whole new shift, overall with the magnetics, which does affect our psychic energy. So there is a shift. The other thing I'll say, the downside is there are a lot of people in this space that are trying to be psychic that really aren't qualified. There's no real regulatory system. So, there's some people out there that really shouldn't be in this space, some head cases. So, you get a little bit of that, but that's with any industry. You know, the nice thing though, people are becoming more aware. And I think part of it is because people are they're looking for answers. When you can go in and get a message, and that's something everybody can do through meditation, right? Prayer is talking to God, meditation is listening to God, right? And I think that, mainstream religion really hasn't been able to help people make that connection. Religion to me is important. It's a nice surface level. It's, the start, but it's not as deep. And I can even go into like a whole deep connection that would,
Do you
if
think
you
that
want to look at the
do you think that it was on purpose that we've been, for example, you are one of the most stigmatized, you have one of the most stigmatized professions, let's say, in the world. Do you think that that stigma that kept people away and in this state of not understanding or not wanting to even touch this subject was on purpose? Because if anybody can have a connection directly to God, why do we need organized religion? Why do we need to go to
Yep.
church if I can have a connection to God in my living room while I'm meditating? Is there a reason why do you feel that the stigma against mediums have been built on purpose?
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I think whenever you have any power players, I believe that that is one reason. You don't necessarily need to go to your rabbi or your priest to make a connection when you can go within. So I do feel to some extent that that has been part of the issue, right? When you hear in the Bible, behold, John saw a vision, he's actually getting things psychically. And I always tell people it's the intention behind it. And that's where people seem to miss that connection because in the Bible, Corinthians and some other places, some are pro, some are negative, that type of thing as far as, believing in psychics. But for the most part, most religions poo-poo, psychics because they feel it's evil. And sometimes people do get into trouble when they dabble in this. And I always tell people it's the intention behind it. So there's some truth that I do think that religion can be beneficial as far as trying to tell people you don't want to dabble in that realm. But also, I feel that in many ways, religion has held people back from making that connection. Like, I'm very spiritual. I've seen Jesus a few times. I actually had a near death 15 years ago, but I've always gone out of body. So that's a whole nother experience that I've had, So um, it's, obviously when there's men, there's ways to, manipulate the masses. So but
And
the funny thing is religion's deeper than people realize. I didn't mean to cut you off, but you can look at religion a couple of ways symbolically, right? You can look at it historically when Moses got lost because he didn't use his GPS. So you know how men are. I don't want to give directions. Sorry. Got to pick on you, but or you can look at it astrologically. So you can look at the 12 apostles and see how they correspond astrologically. Like Judas is connected to Pisces. I might get into trouble for that, but there's a deeper, there's always these connections. Even the church has deeper connections. If you really go into it, into deeper, they know a lot about UFOs. They know a lot about, astrology. You have the Magi or whatever. So that gets a little more deeper, but sometimes gets me into trouble. But
no, I understand completely. And so when I started looking at this, so I started on the UFO subject in 2017 because of an article that ended up in the front page of the New York Times. And then that opened up a world of, let's say, conversations and whistleblowers coming out and legislation in your Congress. And now everybody in the US seems to be getting aware that this is a serious conversation. There was a new documentary that came out a couple of days ago or this week that you now see the director on CNN and on Fox and on all the major TV programs talking about this, 34 government officials talking about secret government programs to study and reverse engineering craft UFOs. So that now is up out of the fringe, I believe. But when I started, then it was very easy to do the jump to psychic abilities, near-death experiencers, out of body experiences, mediumship, channeling, etc., etc. And you find that there is all these dots have a line that connects them all, and there's an underlying reality. And you seem to have lived and experienced many of these aspects. What is the common thread for you? What is the learning going through all those experiences?
I just think that the concept is to bring a wider when the how do they say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So I've been able to learn that there's more than what meets the eye, which I've always believed in because of my experience as a kid. I would always see other worlds. I would always know different things. I would go out of body. I knew about reincarnation. I've had a lot of different visitors. My own experience when I was down in Roswell, New Mexico, working on a TV show, which was a pilot, they shelved it because I started receiving a lot of information that had to do with government information that they didn't want out, but we knew was behind the scenes. So we had proof of what I was saying or validation. So I think it's just bringing it to the masses. And I think you have to, you can't just blow it up on people. So I think people like you or like me are here to educate people without causing a major hysteria. It's like now is the time people are becoming more aware. They're more wider. We've got the internet now, so people are more connected. So I feel like the higher level they want, in the ethereal world, there's the idea that we want to let everybody know that there's more than what meets the eye. And thoughts are things too. So you got that element, then you have the other physical and other, beings that are out there. So, and it's time. It's time. Although the powers that be, they want to still sort of contain us, but it's not going to happen.
Do you feel there
You
is
know,
time? What does it mean
I
for you
believe
there is time?
I believe in the next like 30 to 40 years, we'll have a more regulated connection with other beings, other planetary, beings, because we're not the only inhabitants of the numerous galaxies and what have you. So without a doubt, I mean, we already know our government knows, um, about walk-ins and know of other terrestrial beings that actually may look human-like, but really are from another planet. And when you think about it, scientists have proven that there's like viruses and bacteria like on Mars and other planets. So if they have like little living forces there, we know that there's other planetary systems. And then when you talk to people, like I've known various people that have actually had experiences into with aliens, and I've had my own unique experience when I was down in New Mexico. So I'm just very open minded. And I think with people being more and more open minded too, not so frightened, we'll start to get more information.
How do you
Yeah.
see things? So, of course, the government is becoming more open about the subject, but there's always one narrative right now that is predominant, which is the threat narrative. We tend to simplify everything. It's all good or all bad. It's angels or demons.
Mhm.
There's no nuances, and because threats means that the military can get more funding, intelligence community can get more funding, etc., etc. But it feels like it's not just about beings coming from another planet. Is the entire fabric of reality is not what we believe it is, right? Because we can perceive beyond the veil, whether it's loved ones, whether it's other entities, etc. What's your understanding of how do you see um, this reality that we don't see? Is it different vibrational realities and beings that live in a different plane? What's your mental model?
Well, my experience, there's two. We have the physical forms of other beings, but we also have the ethereal. And so I believe there's always both the ethereal and the physical because there's different realms, different dimensions. I mean, when you think about it, or at least from my experience, you've got the spirit realm, and as the spirit realm became a little bit thicker, I guess, for lack of a better word, more dense, there's the ethereal, then there's that in between realm where people are sort of spiritual beings, ethereal but sort of clay, I guess, and then there's the real physical realm. So there's different levels of densities, for lack of a better word, of beings. So I think that there's, with the humans, we have both, the physical, and we also know there's the ethereal, and that plays out as far as the other realm is concerned. Some beings never actually make any type of physical bodies, but they're very ethereal. But then there's also the physical aliens, for lack of a better word.
Yep.
So there's more than what meets our eye, a
Well,
lot more. And the funny thing is the governments do use whatever they can to their advantage. It's always about control, the power players. What's in it for them? How do they control us? So they try to keep certain information away. And like you said, they manipulate us. Are they going to give us a threat and scare everybody? Or are they going to say everything's so nice and sleight of hand going on?
yeah.
So it's always mankind.
Yep. And was your experience, you said the alien encounter, was he a physical being or was he an ethereal being?
It was ethereal.
Ethereal.
So I was down in New Mexico at Roswell, and and I wasn't the only person. We were doing a show that had an experience with an ethereal being, and then psychically, I could see different forms of ethereal beings. I could see what was going on. So, needless to say, that was never, produced. I mean, it was shelved because we had, people from the government not too happy about some of the information that came out. Oops, just saying, so can't
were
always
you
keep
ever
it contained.
were you ever engaged by the government? Because this is something that keep asking myself. The government has been investing so much money in psychic research, right? There are the
Mhm.
most notable one is the Project Stargate. For
Yep.
18 years, they finance remote viewing research at Stanford, etc. But I assume that there are thousands and thousands of mediums and channelers telling exactly what they see, what they perceive, etc. So it feels like it would be obvious for the government to come to the most successful mediums and channels, etc., and say, "Okay, tell me what you know. Were you ever engaged?" Uh,
That's a very good question. I will say I've made comments on things that I haven't posted, but they've come into reality. So from that perspective, I've worked in a lot of law enforcement, but the government isn't real active right now as it used to be. It still is active. They won't put that out for consumption. But in the like when Bill Clinton was in office, there was a lot of Stargate and remote viewing. So Russia uses a lot of remote viewers and psychics, so they're still, using that field. Our government, not so much, at least currently. but I will say that I've given some information. So
And you need to respect those boundaries. So I'm going to leave it at that. So you had tell me about, so did your ability developed over time, or how are you perceiving the information today? Still the same way, still the same senses? Is it, do you feel more clarity right now on the information, more granular, or it's been a constant more or less for you? You've been all open from day one.
that's you had some good questions. You're such a good engineer. It so comes through. Well, I've always had this gift, so I haven't necessarily refined the gift because I just get it all the time. But what I would say over my experience, I think maturing, looking at things differently, handling situations differently. It's not just a question, or it's not just giving information. It's, what do you do with the information? How do you relay the information? Because you have different sensitive situations. I get a lot of parents these days that lose their kids, which is very heartbreaking.
Yep.
So, you have that, there's a myriad of different things. So I think my skills have always been extremely high, but I would say over my lifetime, I've learned how to communicate it based on, the needs of the people, from that perspective, and appreciating it and looking at it in a different way, understanding, the depths of it. If I say something, how is it going to affect somebody? How do I want to say it? Because you deal with a lot of sensitive situations, so that would be more of it.
And I gotta say that what you do is extremely important for society and for humanity. And because grief the grief of losing somebody can be completely devastating, and the relief that you can provide is invaluable. And I tell you, by experience, that's the experience that I had when I lost one of my best friends and my dad 2 years ago in a matter of 3 weeks. And a lot of your colleagues, I've approached several mediums. My wife pushed me to approach several mediums, and the answers that I got, the connection that I got, was incredible. And it helped me massively in my journey. At the same time, what did you learn in terms of astral hygiene? So how do you protect yourself from being overwhelmed? You say you're on all the time, but are there practices that you have to actually create boundaries and switching on and off the communication, if you can?
Well, the way I approach it, I get visitors, but I also get, information psychically. I'll have visitors in my dreams, and then the next day I might have their family, or I might see something coming up in the future, and I'm like, oh, there's going to be X, Y, and Z happening, or, whatever. So I guess over time I just take it. I'm like, okay, I'll make this connection, and whenever it makes its appearance, it makes its appearance. So I'm very much about it's here when it shows itself. That's my attitude towards it. When it comes to visitors, like it's the other day, I kept hearing the name of all names, Cornelius. And I'm like, I had somebody in my car who's on my phone. I go, oh, somebody's in my car. I'm like trying to have a conversation. I go, Cornelius, you got to stop. Stop with your bloody talking. Cause kept talking. I'm like, I've got to, don't know this person. Next day I'm in my kitchen and I don't cook. That's one thing Karyn does not do. Thank God for the world. So, my Italian grandmother would be so disappointed. But anyways, and so I kept hearing Cornelius. I turn around, here's this guy. All right, whatever. So later that day, I had to go to a funeral, and I'm like, oh gosh, I got to look up where the location is. So I'd go to this person's obit. Well, come to find out, their father's name was Cornelius. I go, really, really, really? Like your dad's stalking me. I can't even get my bloody dishes done. I can't even drive. So, but I take it with a grain of salt. Sometimes you get very persistent people. People can be more persistent typically than if it's something coming up. If I see something coming up into the future, so it just depends. I don't get too worked up about it. It's like, yeah, it's here. Okay. And then I go on about doing my own business. So the only time it can, becomes a problem too is like if I have somebody like Cornelius, or I'm trying to sleep and somebody's poking me in, my arm, or I get into the shower and I've got a visitor. I'm like, well, can you like visit me, outside of the shower? Or I get like crazy things like my TV, wouldn't turn off. I unplugged the power, all three, and it kept rolling and rolling on to the next show the other night. And I heard somebody and I'm like really annoyed. And I said, you got to leave. And my TV was, what is it, 2 years old, 3 years old. It's a Samsung. I've got it on video. And somebody was giggling and I said, okay, Archangel Michael, make this idiot go away. I was like, I got to go to bed. You're really annoying me, you know? And then it happened the next day, went on. So it was on for 2 hours and it rolled into like a couple of different shows without any power plug or HDM or coaxial, cable. I go, you got to be kidding me. Really? Like, if you're going to come here, at least do the bloody dishes.
My wife told me a couple of days ago that every time I sleep outside, I go to Catania, to the city, to do some stuff, the lights are coming out 3 o'clock in the morning. And she's starting to have these experiences, and she's not very happy right now with me.
Well, you're just gonna say, honey, I'm hot stuff. Look at these lights, that'll happen. Yeah. And as your aura and your magnetic energy, you'll pop them. Or those sometimes are, lights that'll flicker because of dead people. So I'll pop a lot of electrical things. I'll go through periods. It's called being a slider, by the way. I'll drive by like a street light, pop it, go to use my blow dryer, pop it, I'll go to, use my phone, it freezes. So, you'll get anything electrical because your magnetic field hits it, or sometimes dead people like to toy with you. So life's a box of chocolates. You just kind of roll with it, or
Yeah.
some vino or whatever.
So you've embraced this? How has your life changed? And if you look back, say this is always meant to be, or it was simply because you started so young, there was never really a change in your perception of reality, or at some point, or when you started doing this properly, something else expanded in your mind, your perception of reality.
I never really thought hard about it. People ask me that, like, was there ever an aha moment? I'm like, yeah, no. It just was what it was. Now, has it broadened my understanding, of other worlds, other realms? Has it made me look more inward? What is our purpose here? Obviously, our purpose here is to experience life, to elevate those around us, to try to be the best that we can be. Those are some of the deeper questions I think that this realm has, made me take a look at. But I really don't think of it as anything other than, okay, I get up and I, take a shower and I brush my hair and, whatever. I don't really think too hard about it.
Do you
It's
believe in the a lot of in the spiritual world, in the new age world, a lot of the theories are that you pick your life experience, your soul picks your life experience, and so uh, it was predestined that you had to come to this life with these abilities already turned on, and your mission was to serve your fellow humans through this gift. Is that your understanding?
I agree with that. I think from my experience, before you incarnate, you will pick, your life where you want to be, what your lessons that you want to learn. But I do believe we carry a lot of our skills with us throughout our lives. Like all my lifetime, I've always been a psychic medium for that matter. So that's something each and every lifetime. I also will say, to your point, when it comes to planetary situations and lives, I believe that there's two groups of people, well, probably a little bit more on this planet, but there's a group that originated from the place of between Orion and the constellation of Leo. I remember getting this in a meditation, and I was told the Acacius Mountains, but people that tend to have higher psychic abilities. Then you have another group of people that are from another different planetary section that are very left brain. So it's almost like if you look at Star Trek, you got Dr. Spock, and then, you've got
Yep.
Captain Kirk, he's Mr. Romance, and then you got Mr., left brain. And then there's people that are in between that capture both. So like you're a left, right brain person. I am too. And people like us are very rare in the industry because if you typically look at most people, they're either, very left, organized, linear, whatever. And then you get the other group, maybe about 20% of the population that are very, out there, a lot of creative people. And then you get the airy fairy, and then you get the airy fairy psychics, and they're like way out there, and then there are people like you and me that are sort of meant to kind of, balance that energy, right? Because it's all about balance. When you're too extreme this way or that way, things just don't always work. So you're very much a rare psychic. and medium for that chance. But if you eat too much, you might be a heavy person.
Yeah.
Just 2 minutes on the lips, lifting my hips. Too much manja. Your grandmother's telling me you should eat more, Antonio. You should eat more.
No, I should lose 10 kilos right now. Anyway, what about, so there's two questions that then come to mind. One is probably you've been asked all the time, which is, okay, what is the balance then between our free will and our predetermined mission in life? And the other one is, as you talked about your family being rich with history about psychic abilities. So do you think that, so as an engineer, I would say, okay, is there a genetic trait or a genetic predisposition to psychic abilities? And does that mean that you picked your family because of the genetic predisposition to be able to be a medium and have that genetic material in your body that was more receptive to a connection? How do you see and how do you see this?
I do believe you do pick your family, although I will say typically most people sort of family up with the same family. Maybe the dynamics might change a little bit, that type of thing. But you typically will sort of resonate within the same family group, like attracts like. When it comes to picking your life, you have free will, but your lessons are, well, here are your broad lessons. How do you want to learn? How do you learn these lessons? Do you want to have a big fender bender so you learn not to, speed, or do you want to have like a little bump? So you still have that ability, to work that energy. You also have the ability to say, I know I came here to learn this, but I really don't have the passion to do that. And so you also have that free will to, work with that energy as well. So you've always got ultimately the free will to make, choices. God gives you the choices. But then when you get to the other side and your guide say, "Hey, look, Karyn, you said you were going to be a chef and you can't even boil water. We gave you the best grandmother that can cook and you still can't boil water." I'll be like, "Well, we'll do that another lifetime." So I'll channel her, instead of making jar sauce, I'll channel her to maybe
Under,
make homemade sauce.
understood. Uh, can we do a quick reading on
Sure.
me? What do you
Yeah, yeah,
perceive?
because your father was bothering me. And your grandmother's got a quick question for you. Do you have a friend named Michael? Maybe it's more of an Italian way. I should say
Michele?
Michaelino or something. Michael,
Michele?
what is it?
Michele?
Michaela.
Mm,
Yep.
well, I had a friend, Michele, but not. I haven't talked to him in probably 30 years. I'm not sure whether
But
he's
he,
alive or not.
yeah, but he was a good friend of yours, yes?
When I was a kid, yes.
Yeah, that's what your dad said. He goes, "Yeah, my son had a really good friend, Michaela, Michael, or however you say it." And he said, "Yep." He goes, "He's been thinking about you." He goes, "You made a big impression on him. That's why he's bringing him up." And he said that this gentleman keeps thinking about you. Your father said to tell you. And do you have some of your father's tools, by the way? Or were you doing some kind of carpentry work around the house? Or you got to do like little repairs around the house, fix some
No,
things?
no.
So, do you ever
I,
fix
I,
like,
I need, sorry, I need to do repairs around the house, yes. But
that's,
I normally it was my dad that used to get my tools. I was the one
oh,
buying
your
the
tools.
tools. But yes, I need to repair my house right now. Yes.
Yeah, he says you got some repair work, and he started talking about sharing the tools. And he said, "I'll watch you when you do it." Your father's laughing about it. He thinks this is funny. And the other thing is, do you have a friend? Now, again, I might be saying in the American way. Do you have a good friend like a Jose or a Joe connection?
Yes.
Yeah, in the living still, I take it. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jose.
Did you just see this person or talk to this person?
I messaged with this person. Jose he was my neighbor in Barcelona. Yes.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
few
He
days
said
ago.
Jose. Yeah, that your father read that, by the way. He's very nosy. He said, I saw him talking to his friend Jose. I'm laughing about it. You can't make this up. I'm telling you. That's when you know your dad is with you. He said he's very proud of you. And wait, you have a son too?
No, no,
Who's got this? He's got a grandson, your father said, though.
no, a granddaughter. No.
There's a grandson in the future, then, or a great grandson, because he's pointing to you about it. So I think you're going to end up with a grandson because it's being very
That
specific.
would be
So
very surprising. That would be super surprising.
well, your daughter might end up having a grandson because he points to, he goes, "Oh no, there's a grandson." So I think your dad's trying to tell me you're going to end up with a grandson when your daughter's old enough, is what he's telling me. He's laughing about
No,
that.
but I don't have a daughter as well. So we don't have kids. It's my sister that has a daughter.
Which-
I have no
Okay,
kids.
yeah, then it's through his granddaughter then, because kept saying a grandson. So he's talking about he's going to have a great grandson then. That's what he's saying.
Okay.
So, or your sister should have another baby to have a grandson. Hang on, Dad, you're talking too fast. He's laughing about that. No, actually, your sister might end up being He'll have a great grandson, your father's son. Who's Anna, by the way? Is that a friend of your mom's? Anna?
Anna is, there are a few. I have a cousin, but they're also my brother-in-law's mom. That is Anna.
Oh, that's the mother connection. That's your brother-in-law's mom. She's still living?
Yes.
Because somebody's coming in because your father said Anna and then he said a mother. That's who he's talking about. I think it's connected. There's a man coming in for Anna too, just as an FYI. Hang on, everybody. He's got a heart that he's showing me. I don't think it's. Did you lose a husband? Yeah.
Huh? No, not
There's
yet.
a guy with a heart. Hang on, let me see who this. You guys got to stop talking over here. They're all. Your grandmothers are talking. I'm like, I can't hear you. It's Anna's father, is what I just heard. When you talk to Anna or talk to your brother-in-law, let Anna know that her dad sends his love. He's got a big heart. He kept saying, Anna, Anna. I couldn't hear him. And your dad's talking, really, Dad? So give Anna a big hug and a kiss from her father. Tell her everything will be okay. I guess whoever Anna is, she might be a worrywart. So tell your brother-in-law to tell his
From,
mother that.
sorry, it was Anna's father, you saying?
Yep, because he kept
Okay.
saying Anna, Anna. I said, and you are, and then your father was talking. So
My cousin's father, yes.
yep. Yeah, that's it. Yep. That's what he kept saying. Tell her not to worry. So you guys got to stop talking. They're all talking at once. This is so funny. But wait a minute. I want to go back to your buddy, Jose, though. Your father likes Jose. And I got to say, hang on, Dad. Your dad said to tell you, when you met Jose, did you feel like you always knew him? You have a past life guy.
The connection was strong immediately. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. You have a past life tie. You go back like 500 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. You look
I
good for
wouldn't,
500 years ago.
it would not surprise me. Yeah, it would not surprise me.
Yeah. And you went to visit him, you said in Barcelona, because that's where you knew him in a past life. So
Hmm.
you've been in that part of the world. And your wife and you have had multiple past lives. Okay,
I
you need
get
to
that
tell your sister.
perception. Yeah.
Yep. Who's got the July or August birthday? Is it your sister? Who's got the August birthday or passing her
July,
anniversary?
my
Who's
mom. My
oh
mom is
mom? Okay.
July.
Tell your mom happy birthday from your dad because he goes summer. Yep. And then he started talking about your sister again. I'm sorry, but I think she's going to end up having a grandson down the road because he keeps talking about having a grandson. So she'll have a grandson, which would make your father great grandfather. So he's laughing about that. Do you have a little dog that you walk a lot? Is there a dog that you walk? Did you
Yeah.
get a dog yet?
Yeah.
Do you like
I
to
have a
walk
dog.
your dog?
Yes. And it's here right now.
Oh, your dad loves your doggy. Your doggy sees grandpa. So if your doggy looks up, your doggy sees grandpa.
I got the feeling as well.
Oh, that's why I saw a little doggy and I saw a little light-haired doggy. She's so cute. Your little give your baby a kiss.
Yep. Mm.
And your
And
grandma Maria said, oh my God, she's beautiful. I guess you'd say Bella Face, beautiful face. Did I say it right?
yep. Bella
It's
faccia.
Bella Faccia. There you go. Manja Manja and a Bella Faccia. Your grandmother's laughing. I go, is that good, Grandma? She says it's good. They're laughing. By the way, who's Paul? Is that another friend of yours? Do you have a friend, Paul? Are you working with a Paul or Paul?
Male or female?
I think male. Who's Paul?
Paul, Paolo. Yes, Paolo is my friend that passed away 3
Oh,
weeks
that's him
before my
coming in.
dad.
That's him. That's your buddy Paolo coming in. Were you hoping to talk to him? He's listening. He says you better.
Absolutely. No, I am. I love him very much.
He said, your father's hilarious. He says, you have no idea. Antonio goes, we laugh all the time. He goes, I love you like a brother. And he goes, you know what? We've been through multiple lifetimes together. He said, your father pushed you to find me. Your father did some work. You got to, bless your father on that one. He's funny. Your dad is super cool too, by the way. And Paulo says, your dad and I, we laugh so much. And he says, a lot of times I visit you in your dreams. And Paulo said, you know what? He said, it was my time. You could not have stopped it. And I do hear that a lot. What's that, Paula? Paul, I'm looking over here because he's right in front of me, but you can't see him. Well, I said maybe go behind here, and you probably can't see him behind here, so I'm going to look behind. But Paulo said to tell you, what's that, Paulo? He said you couldn't have stopped my passing. He goes, when you talk to me, I listen all the time. And he goes, Antonio, he goes, it was my time. And I said, how was your transition? He goes, when I released from the body, I didn't feel any pain.
Yeah.
He just put his hand on my shoulder. He's a really nice guy, and he goes, please tell my family I'm okay.
Yeah.
He said the food over here is great. I go, yeah, that's what they tell me, And he said he's come to you in your dreams quite a bit. So what you want to do is when you go to bed at night, Antonio, keep telling, Paulo, I will remember seeing you. I will remember seeing you. You know what's funny? I just realized You were in my dreams last night, Paulo. Paulo was in my dreams last night. I just realized it. I go, you came to visit me. And he said, without a doubt. I go, good thing you didn't come in my shower today. That would have been a little odd. He goes, no, I'm a gentleman. He thinks it's funny though.
Yeah.
So I said, what are you doing up there? Because, on the other side, you have a house, you have things, you have restaurants, if you want to go gambling, whatever you want to do, see all your family and friends and animals and whatever. So, what are you doing these days? He's got a lot of friends. He goes, I got a lot of friends. He goes, but you know what? He goes, you really made such a big impression on me. He goes, you have no idea, Antonio. He goes, when you come here, you see things in such a bigger fashion, which he's so correct about that, so. Hey, Belinda,
Hello.
how are you?
Hello, I'm
Hey,
fine.
Belinda.
Hi, Antonio.
Love your glasses. Those are so cool.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So,
all those laughing. Go ahead.
so Karyn, this is Belinda, who's my mother-in-law.
Yep.
And so
Oh, hi, mother-in-law. You're young, mother-in-law.
Thank you.
I want something you're pickling well.
I like you, Karyn.
No, I like you too. Wait, you
And-
sound like you've got an English accent. Is that correct?
Sorry, what was that?
You sound like you're from England or
Yeah.
from Northern Europe.
Yeah, England.
Oh, yeah. My dad's side, English and Norwegian. So, yeah. Yeah. I'm a mutt. But anyways, I love England. I love Europe. I got to just tell you, I love Europe. Europe's just the best. Paulo's laughing. I said to Paulo, you're going to have to cook later. Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Go on.
No, absolutely. And we discussed briefly to have a couple of people coming in for some quick readings. So I told Belinda, and there's also my friend Irene probably joining us in 5-10 minutes. So absolutely, I would be thrilled to hear a reading for Belinda, and I'll shut up.
Oh my God.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Well, you got to tell Paulo to shut up because he's right behind me, keeps laughing about this. He's really funny, by the way. He just came in, by the
He
way,
is.
but he was in my dream last night, Antonio's friend. I just want to say,
Ah,
I have people coming in for you too. Is there a Florence connection? Why am I floor connection? Were you thinking about redoing your floors or rugs or something?
no.
Did you get a new carpet or something? Okay, that's coming up in your future. That I'm seeing psychics. So were you thinking about, or are you thinking about doing it, Antonio, doing like some carpets or something, or redoing floors? Somebody's said about redoing floors.
I need to redo the floors. Yeah.
That's what I'm pointing to. Sorry, I don't mean to point at you. That's why I heard. Stop interrupting everybody. Your father keeps talking. He goes, I'd help you if I could. Back
Guys,
to you,
shut up.
Belinda. Yeah, right. Him and like, I keep hearing the name George too. So by the way, I've got a lot of people coming in around you too, Belinda. One quick question though, does your knee bother you? Because I got a little bit of a knee and hip issue going on. If not, that's something coming up around you. I hate to say it.
No, it's
Do you
true.
over-
I've got a long-term knee problem, and actually last night I had a problem with my hip. So yes, you're right.
Thank you for sharing that. We're bonding. Thanks, Belinda. Your father's laughing about that because your mom says the same thing too. Because I keep feeling like I'm going into my hip and my knee. Did you ever try infrared on it? That might help your knee a little bit. You're going to eventually need to get some treatment on that or some kind of surgery if you're not careful.
I already need surgery on it. I know I will need a knee replacement. Yes.
Yeah, I see that. I see you going in. I see you saying, ouch, ouch, ouch. But your recovery looks good though.
Oh well.
So yeah, so I wouldn't wait on that. Is there somebody named Ed connected to you? Somebody's trying like an Ed, Fred, or Ted. Hang on, everybody. I got somebody else coming in for you. I think it's some family member. You got a lot of family coming in,
Oh.
a lot. Yeah, and somebody by the name, I think Jim or James are saying. So these are probably some distant people. But I want to go back to your knee because I keep touching my knee a lot. So does it bother you a lot? Because I could feel the pain.
It bothers me all the time. Yeah, I need a knee replacement. So yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to wait on that either. That's what Graham's even told me to tell you too, because I keep feeling like my knee. She goes, don't wait. She says, get that done. I did see good outcomes coming up with that as well. Did you ever want to work with kids, or was somebody going to be a teacher or worked around school, or do you live near a school? No.
No.
That's what I said. No, you got that in your future though. Somebody's going to work with kids around you, somebody you know, somebody in the living, because I keep seeing kids or a schoolhouse, somebody you're going to know. It's a male or a female connection to you that you'll come to be friends with. I keep hearing the name like a Kathy or Kathleen. She might go proper like Catherine or Kathleen, but this woman works with kids. I'm not sure if she's a school teacher. It looks like she might be a teacher, but when you meet her, you're going to know her because I keep seeing children. And the name John keeps coming up. Was that a friend of your dad's, by the way, John or Jack? Who's that?
It's funny you should say that because somebody else has said that to me. I've had a reading before and the name John has come up, but no, it actually doesn't mean anything to me. But that's the second time.
So let me find out why your dad's saying John, because I keep hearing John. Hang on, everybody's they're all talking. They're so loud. Stop being loudmouths. Anyways, Let me see what they're saying. Yeah. So you're going to meet somebody with that name in your future. That's why I'm seeing it psychically.
Right.
So when you meet this person, John, he may even go by Jack. You know how sometimes people do that. And there's a Margaret too that may connect in with John. They're saying so. She might go by Marjorie or Margaret. But anyways, when you meet John, you're going to feel like you've always known him, and you're going to know you have a connection to him. Actually, he's involved with your medical. So he may be a doctor. That's where I see. So you've got some connection, or he may be your nurse, and you'll feel like you've always known him. It relates to your medical. Could be a last name too, like Johnson, but this person hits into your medical house. So it has something to do with your health. He may be a physician, or he may have something medical, but you're going to feel that you've always known him. So that's why that name keeps coming up. But you're going to get good success with your knee, and don't wait on it.
Okay.
Don't dance on the tabletops either, Belinda. It might aggravate it. So you're real close to your gram, by the way. She's really cute.
Yeah. I had two. So
This is your mom's mom, by the way. She goes, my granddaughter, your mom's mom.
Okay,
Yeah. She keeps telling me that. She says, yep, make sure you get that done. The name Debbie comes up. Is that a friend of yours yet? Do you have a Deb in your world yet? A Deborah?
yes,
Debbie?
I do have a friend called Deborah. Yes.
Yeah. One of your besties or a close friend, I take it. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah, because Graham says, I really like Debbie. I just love her. She's a nice girl. You should call her and go have lunch, Graham said. She loves to do lunch, by the way. When you do lunch, Grandma goes with you. Mom's mom, she said to tell you. So also something with your heart, too. Do you get an irregular heart ever? And did your mom have something with her heart? Because Graham's talking heart.
no.
You got to watch your heart a little bit because she's saying heart, but it's minor. It's like irregularity. So that looks like it may have something to do with electrical, your hormones, that type of thing. So you might need to have your electrolytes. You know, sometimes when those are out of balance, like your potassium is what I'm getting. So
Okay.
if it gets a little fluttery, I mean, obviously get that checked out, but it's not, because your lifeline is long, but I keep getting a little bit of that. So don't stress.
Okay.
So good thing. So I love John. I do see improvements coming up with your knee replacement. 1, 2. So you want to get a couple of different opinions, but I see you going in and I see you coming out. Your surgery looks good. You'll be in a little pain, but then you'll feel better and say, I should have done it sooner. So I keep feeling it. Thanks, Belinda, for sharing that pain in my hip. Thank you.
Sorry.
It's a transference of energy in your father's life, and they're all like trying to talk and trying to get their like 15 minutes of fame in. So call your friend Deb, go get your knee done, and don't wait on that. I'll tell you, you should probably do it in the near future. Within the next 6 months, I would plan on doing it. We're going into a 1 year, in numerology, 2026 equals 1. So that's a good year because it's new beginnings, it's new fresh starts. So it's a good time to, really get your health on track.
Okay.
So who's got the January birthday, by the way, or who had a birthday? Was it your mama? Who's got the January birthday or passing or anniversary? Who's January? You?
It's my dad.
Oh, it's Mr. Talker himself. I keep pointing over here. Happy birthday to your dad. He goes, January's a birthday month. I go, really, Dad? They're going to have a big party. When you go out of body, you'll be with your family on the other side until you go back into your body for your surgery. So Dad says not to worry. He goes, I love you from the bottom of my heart. So
Thank you.
good stuff. You're welcome. What a good mother-in-law you have, Antonio.
I know.
You know that? Your father loves your mother-in-law, loves your wife like a daughter. That's what his dad said. So, but you will have many past lives together. So
Yeah.
do you like picking grapes or making wine? Is that one of your long-term goals to make wine, Antonio? Or is that you,
No,
Belinda? You?
but to drink
First talking.
wine.
Drink wine.
Bottoms up, liquid spirits, everybody. They're all laughing about that. Oh my God, they're so funny. But anyways, because I just saw you like looking at fresh grapes. I can't drink wine or anything. I love champagne, but I have migraine. That's the problem when you're psychic. You get migraines and a lot of things are very, whatever. So, by the way, the Europeans are very psychic, our bloodline. So welcome to the club, everybody.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Karyn. And it was lovely.
Okay.
I will ask Irene to join us as well. Belinda, what do you feel?
Thank you. Yes, really interesting. Thank you so much, Karyn. Lovely to have met you.
Likewise, one other quick question. Is there a May May connection to you? Somebody with the name May or month of May, Mabel, May?
No.
May birthday?
No.
Why are your dad saying May? Do you know somebody with the name May, Mabel, May, Maybelline, May birthday, passing, anniversary?
No.
What's he showing me? He's saying it's the name. Put that in your future. Somebody will come to you with that name. I think it's definitely going to be a woman. So I don't know if it's a last name or a middle name. And it may be like Maybelline or Mabel.
Okay.
I'm just going to say when you meet this person, you're going to feel like you've always known them. It's a woman, kind of like blondish hair.
Okay.
So I like her. You'll totally vibe her. Call your friend Deb too, Graham said.
Okay.
Stop talking. Anyways, they do this. Great
Thank
things.
you.
Okay. Thank you.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Thanks. Bye, Antonio.
Bye. Bye, Belinda. Thank you. Thank you very much. That was lovely. And so how do you deal with all this, all the spirits coming at once and all this noise?
You know, it's hard because like you're picking up, you know, voices back and forth. Everybody's like a little bit here, a little bit there. So, you know, you're trying to pinpoint. It's like being in a big room with people in the living when you're trying to, you know, you might hear somebody say one word and somebody else, so it gets a little murky. So you just try to do your best like you would in any crowd.
Do you
You know,
see
as an
them, do they pick the form that they want? For example, there's a lot of talking that you pick the form that you felt more comfortable with. A lot of people look younger when they pass, etc., etc. Do you see them as their younger selves, or do they show differently to different people? What's the dynamic?
So my experience has always been when you leave your physical, you want to be your optimum, your healthiest, you know, and that's typically around the age of 25 and 30, like in human form. So people that, you know, come here, like when you see your dad, you'll recognize your dad because he's your dad. He'll just look, you know, invigorated. He'll look like he had a facelift. He'll look fantastic, you know. So, you know, you're just embodied of such health, you know, from that perspective.
And every time I
Paulo's killing.
felt him, I felt his younger self. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. He's very handsome, by the way, your dad. He goes, oh, shucks. He
Yeah.
says, you make sure you tell your mother and your sister, he lived for you kids, is what your dad said. I lived for your mother and your kids.
Yeah.
You know, he knew immediately that he fell in love with your mom the minute he laid eyes on her. Tell your mom that.
Yeah.
Oh, very proud of his kids. He's a nice guy. Okay, your buddy Paulo is behind me and he keeps trying to poke at me. So like you can't see him. Anyways, you can't make this up. Hey Irene, how are you?
Hey, Irene.
I'm good. How are you?
I love those glasses. I'm like big into glasses. I think of it as jewelry on your face, just so you know. By the way, do you like to write a lot? Because if not, I see a lot of writing ahead of you. Do you do any writing at all? Do you do any journaling at all?
Behind me, you mean? Or in
No,
general?
in general.
I did recently, you know, because I started journaling a few months ago.
Yeah, because that's what your Graham said. I got a bunch of people coming in again, and Paul was killing me, by the way. So I got a dad's dad. Wait, your dad's still here? Your dad's on the other side? That's why I heard dad. That's why I'm like shaking my, because I heard dad, you got to stop. I'm telling your dad to hold off, Antonio. Yeah, because he goes, I want to talk to my daughter. He goes, dad. Yeah. So your dad's here and he said she writes and he loves you're beautiful at writing. That's what he said to tell you, Irene. He goes, my God, he goes, just beautiful. You're so gifted. But you tend to give a lot of yourself to people. Sometimes you got to give back to yours, you know, like you're always investing in others emotionally and what have you. Now it's your time. And your dad said, you wrote something about your dad recently or not too long ago, or you were inspired by your dad, is what he's telling me. I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but he said, she knows what I'm talking about. You channel your dad is what you do. So when you sit and you write and you're doing your regular writing, sometimes your dad's giving you some ideas to write about and also talking to you. The name Tom comes up. Is that a friend of yours, first or last name, like a Tom or Thompson yet, or Thomas? You would say yes. So keep that in your future because you got the name Tommy coming up around you. Into the living, by the way. It's like a Thompson, Tompkins, something along that line. You would say yes. And by the way, do you like turtles? I know that sounds weird. Do you like turtles?
Not that I can think of.
So when you see a turtle, your father's laughing, he's showing me a turtle. So you might see it as a picture. You might go into a store and see a turtle, but that's going to be a way that your dad will connect with you. Because why, you know, turtles, they have hard shells, but they're soft in between. And that's who your dad was, you know. And he said, that's who you are. He says, being true to yourself. Who's this Lee connection? Do you have a friend like Elisa or Lizette or Lee, something Lee, female with a Lee sound? Michelle Lee, something Lee. Is that a friend of yours? Leah, something Lee is what he's.
Iliana could be.
Who's Elia?
Is his wife.
Oh, Elia has a wife?
No, my dad's wife.
Oh, your dad's wife is, what is it? Elia?
Iliana.
Ileana. Okay, that's what he was trying to say. Ileana. Okay, gotcha. Because I kept hearing him something Ileana. Oh, see, they're all talking today. You know, you can't make this up. Hang your horses up. So that would be your stepmom then, Ileana, correct? Yep. Have you talked to her lately? Not enough?
Not enough, maybe. Yeah.
Sorry to blow you in on TV or on podcast.
He's
No.
So he said if you could give her a call too, he said she would love to hear from you. You make your dad very proud. He goes, I just want you to know, and everything you've done in life, he said, you've done well. He says, don't sweat the small stuff. You know, and he said, I just want you to know. And he said, hang on. He does visit you in your dreams a lot too, Irene. When you go to bed tonight, tell your dad, I will remember seeing you. Look at your dad's face because you will see your dad. You have a lot of dad in you. The other thing too, though, does your neck get a little tight? Because you need to get a massage, girlfriend. You need to go get that, you know. Yeah, you really do. You know, find a hot man to give you a massage. That's what I say. You know, work those like little kinks, you know, just saying. Your father's laughing. He said to tell you, he said, I heard you all the nice things and the love that you gave me when he passed away. So, and when you think about your dad's there. And he said, when you have your moments, he goes, I'm still there for you. He always puts his arm around you. So you pick your dad up. You're very psychic. So a lot of times you're like, I'm writing, I'm cooking, I'm doing whatever. And then the minute you think of your dad's actually coming through to you. You know, so you have a lot of your dad in you. Okay, so here's a question. Is there a problem with your driving? Do you suck at driving?
I don't know. I didn't consider myself.
My father says you could use a little help with your
the car situation. We have a car situation. I don't know if it's that.
Yep, that's it. He goes, there's a problem with the car, something car situate or car sucks. I think that's what he's saying. He goes, yep. So whatever the car situation, he's laughing about it. He goes, yep, I know all about it. So yeah.
Yeah, because I'm always like, if my dad will be here, he will help us choose a car.
He said he will help you. He said, so what you can do, so when you go to bed, just say, Dad, help us choose a car. Go look at a couple of cars. And then in the morning, you'll have a better idea of which one. You'll just know it. You might turn on the TV. Look for something with a turtle connection. I know that sounds abstract and be abstract. So you might go to maybe a car dealer and maybe the gentleman has a turtle ring on or something that could be conceived of it. Or you might see like a poster with like a shell, something like that. Or you might have a box of turtle chocolates or something. Be open about it. That'll be like the way your father will kind of give you an idea because he said, look for the turtle. Don't ask me how. Sometimes it gets weird, but they try to give a frame of reference. But he's laughing about the car. So, well, I guess your car situation sucks. It's probably, you know.
Yeah.
Make sure you give everybody a hug and a kiss too. Make sure you call your Elia. Did you say your stepmom's name is?
Ileana.
Ileana, give Ileana a big hug too. And, but your dad said, I'm never that far away. He goes, of course, I'm always going to be your dad. He loves what you write, though. You're a beautiful writer. And you need to be around flowers a lot. You need to have flowers all around you because those lift your spirit. They have a vibrational quality for you. So keeping flowers, even just a couple a day would definitely be beneficial for you. Your father wants you just to be happy. You know what? You give your father so much joy. You have a very special bond with your dad and you feel him. And he goes, I'm always going to be there. Always. By the way, you two have such a past life tie, you two, Irene and Tony. Did you know that when you met each other, did you feel an instant connection? Because you actually have such a strong past life tie.
I think, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are no such things as coincidence. Your father goes, oh, she's a great gal. Okay, Dad. Your father likes to weigh in. He keeps trying to chat. Antonio's dad. And then I got Paulo behind me and he thinks he's being funny. He just tried blowing on the back of my head. Really, Antonio? Or Paulo?
The first time I felt Paulo was during a mushroom ceremony. And he came in saying that in past life, we used to be space pirates together. And that's him.
That's Paulo. He's laughing about it. He goes, you got that right. You know, that's so funny. Paulo says, hi, Irene. So hi, Irene from Paulo too. You know, well, that's so funny. Crazy people.
Thank you very much, Karyn. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. No problemo. They're all funny over here.
Thank you.
Dad gave you a big kiss too, by the way. So get back to writing, Irene. You're going to surprise yourself. Ask your dad for insight. He'll give it to you. Just whatever comes to mind. It's your frame of reference, but your dad will be talking to you. He'll come that way through your vibration. You're very psychic. Or psycho without your coffee in the morning.
would you mean would that mean that maybe it would be beneficial for Irene to try automatic writing as a practice?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Irene's very psychic. I mean, you all are. That's why everybody's clumping together. But with Irene, like you're really expanding that side of you. I saw you meditating. Do you meditate yet? Because that's, yeah, so you're really expanding that. And your third eye is like winking at me. Put a little mascara on that. But, don't you put any mascara on. Well, you could, but it would be different. But yeah, so you're actually channeling that information. Some of your writing comes through from the other side because you're opening up that. And if you ever get a writer's block, then I would do a little doodle with your left hand. Like I'm ambidextrous, but if you're a dominant, like if you write with your right hand, start using your left hand. Just do some squiggles, try to write your name. And then you'll open up that blockage and you'll start to channel in. Like a lot of times when I've done automatic writing, I'll use my left hand, even though usually it's my right hand. Although sometimes I do write with my left, but I'm a little bit more right dominant. But it's fun. Of course, you never know what you're going to get. Again, a box of chocolates, a few nuts, a few cherries. I mean, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
From then, Irene, do you have a friend named Sherry yet? Somebody with the name Sherry, Sharon, Sherry, Cheryl, Sharon, Sherry, Cherie, something. Are you writing with that name yet? Cherie, Cheryl, Sherry?
Writing.
Or connected to somebody with that name, like Mon Chéri? You would say yes. That name's around. I think you're writing with that name, like Mon Chéri, like Cheri or Sherry, Cherie.
Chiara.
Keep it in your future. Something I saw that name, so it might be a character or something you're writing. You're writing a more from journaling to some creative to some other things. I just saw that come up. So when it comes up, you'll let me know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it could be the car because there's a car brand called Sherry.
We say.
Oh, is that what it is? Is there really a car called a Sherry?
Yes, it's the biggest Chinese car manufacturer. Yeah.
Okay, Antonio, I'll talk to you later.
You might be writing, then that might be you're writing a contract for the Sherry car.
Yeah.
That's what your father kept saying, Sherry. And I saw you writing something and it really did. He thinks you should look at the Sherry. That's crazy. There's a Chinese brand called Sherry cars. That's so funny.
Yeah.
We don't have it here in the States. I never, but I'm not a car aficionado.
No, you do. But they have different names around the world. Sherry is the big group in China, but they have different names around the world. Yeah.
I see. I look into it.
Yeah, well, apparently, because you're making Sherry, and I saw you writing. You might be a contract with a Sherry. You might be buying a car. Yeah, check out the Sherrys. That's what your dad says. He goes, "That's it. That's it." Because he kept saying it. Okay, good call, Antonio. You scored one with Irene's dad. He goes, "Good call." You might be signing the contract because I saw the name Sherry on a piece of paper. I saw you writing something. So, well, at least write it down and check it out. Let's do it that way. That's what your dad said. Wow, I learned something new thanks to Irene and Antonio. Irene's dad and Antonio. See, us girls are learning something. Your father's laughing. Your father thinks it's funny. Both of your dads are laughing. Anyway, sorry, not to digress. It's like a conversation over there. Everybody's talking.
Well, Irene, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Karyn.
You're welcome. Behave yourself. Get back to me on the Sherry car. I'll be looking after that. Bye, Irene. Take care. God bless.
Bye. Bye, Antonio.
Bye. Well, thank you very much. It was lovely. And again, although you see Irene crying, you know that it's that is joy and it's beautiful. So what you do is beautiful. Thank you.
Well, I don't care what you say, but your father's telling me there's a grandson or a great grandson. So your niece might be having a grandson at some point because he's pointing. So there's going to be one in the family. So your niece will be having a baby. Tell your sister that. He says, I'm going to get a grandson. So there will be one.
This one, I will be very surprised if it happens, but I never say never. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, if your niece has a baby, then, you'll be a great uncle, but it'll come. He says, I'm determined. Your dad's really cute, by the way. Okay. Paulo is killing me. What is up? Your buddy's funny. He keeps trying to blow on me. I keep feeling on the back of my neck and he keeps touching me. He thinks he's funny. Just saying.
He was a funny guy. He
still is.
Absolutely.
He goes, I still am. Thanks, Antonio. He goes, I still am. That's what he said.
I know now, but now the perception is unfortunately is different. But you are, Paolo, you are. Well, I'll ask you the last question because I took already a lot of your time, and I'm really grateful. How can people engage with you? What is the best way for people to work with you, to engage with you, etc., and learn more about you?
Oh, they could just go to my website, KarynReece.com. But my parents were not hooked on phonics, so you got to spell it, KarynReece.com. And
I
then they
will add
can
it. I will add in the
exchange.
description, so it's going to be easy. And how do you engage with people? You do private readings, I've
Yep.
seen, but you also work with groups. What's your main thing these days?
I do one-on-one sessions, and then I do my own show here locally. I do a live audience, and we always fill it. We fill 100 seats, and that's like a box of chocolates too. People come in, and then that's always fun because you never know what you're going to get. So I always like to have fun, at those events. So I do that, and then I've got two national TV projects that I'm working on. So it's like just a flavor full of different, activities, and I'll be teaching classes too. So I'll let you know about the classes.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, and
What,
they'll be
what's
different. They're not going to be traditional classes.
what do you mean by that?
Well, a lot of people don't realize you can use intuition at work. That's Psychic 101. So I'm going to actually try to expand that, understanding that it's not just, come here if you want to be a psychic. You could still do your business. You could be a police officer, or you could be a salesperson, an entrepreneur. People that are very avant-garde, very enterprising, very cowboy, as I like to say, risk takers, right? You're entrepreneurs like you and me, right? We're very, we use our intuition, our Psychic 101. So I'm actually going to add in some activities for left-brained people so that it's not as airy-fairy as you would traditionally get with most classes. You'll still learn all the basics, but also employ some left-brain activities that will also kind of bridge that understanding, a different way of doing it, which nobody's done. I mean, there's people out there, they teach intuition, but that's where they stop. There's intuition, then there's psychic, then there's mediumship, and then there's variations all and above. So like I'm way up here, and intuitives are here that teach the classes, but I'm like, well, why stop there? I can bring you up to this level with acceleration and the
Yeah,
right way of doing it, and ethically.
yeah. And I've seen that your clients go from normal people like myself to CEOs and celebrities that I assume or let's say, do they look for different things when they come to you? This type of people, are the CEOs, entrepreneur looking for more the intuition side, whilst normal people look for connecting to loved ones, or any?
That's a good question, because I do a lot with businesses, a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, and they usually come to me with well, some of them are personal, but a lot of them will look into their business, because I have a background in business and I love business. I love, starting them, like you, very creative, your mind's always going, 5 miles an hour, whatever, 50 miles an hour. So a lot of times I work with business owners and entrepreneurs and CEOs in terms of their business structure, what's working, is this a good employee? Is this a bad one? What's the future trend of what they're doing? I love doing stocks because I'm a former stockbroker, and I'm not one to look at the technicalities. I like to look at what I feel is going to work, and then I may back it up with some, tech specs. But I love the business world because there's just so much. In fact, some of the biggest players in the world, Jeff Bezos, Richard Branson, they swear by their intuition. Forbes, speaks about it. And now we're getting to a place in society that we can really, it's more widely acceptable. People still like to use the word intuition. It's really Psychic 101. From that
Yeah,
perspective. And there's a right way to learn it, and then the wrong way, or there's a right way, and then there's all these like silly ones, that really aren't legit.
yeah.
So I want to bring more legitimacy to the industry, to the art of it, and the science of it, which I employ scientific backups with the type of work that we do, because there is a connection
And have you
with
have you
it.
ever done tests on yourself, scientific tests like from ECGs to see whether your brain patterns are different or altered when you are getting information, or anything else that you can say, okay, there are ways to actually prove that the information that is coming from somewhere else is not generated in my brain, and you can see clear differences between my brain patterns, for instance, and the ones of a person that doesn't consider himself a psychic?
I haven't done any tests in a long time, but there are plenty of tests out there. And now with the technologies, the more innovations that come out, the more sensitivities that the technologies offer. That's something that I would love to do. I know like Duke University, which is in the Carolinas. There's also down in Arizona. There's different, universities that, uh, love to look into how the brain operates when you're in that state. But I'm in that state all the time, so my brain's probably gonna be
Oh.
like, like on Waco, here's Reese's Pieces, everybody.
Yeah, you need a
So
control. You need the control group to really see the difference, because you're probably
exactly.
always in that state. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So my brain's probably like night lights, it's always on, fire. And being a Ramzilla, being an Aries doesn't help. I want everything done yesterday. By the way, I gotta tell you, your grandmothers are adorable. So is your papas over here. They're just lovely people. So
Thank
they
you.
keep trying to get my attention. But your
Thank
dad's very, very proud of you. And he says, thank God for you. He wanted me to tell you, Antonio, I appreciate all that you're doing and taking good care of your mom.
Thank
He does talk to your mom. Ask your mom if your mom remembers seeing your dad in her dreams, because he really visits her, because he says all the time, all
My
the
mom had
time.
a couple of very physical experiences where
Yep.
she felt hugged and very strongly, and she felt the love putting through. But then she doesn't believe, and so although she comes to me and saying, "I can swear it was your dad," but then 2 minutes later he says, "No, it's not possible. There must be some other explanation." So
That's, that
yeah,
generation. But yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But she knows deep down. And by the way, when your mom does cross, not anytime soon, Dad will have the honeydew list for her. He goes, oh, yeah, I'll have the list. I go, really? She can't even get a break. Your mother's laughing. He goes, your mother's the love of my life along with you kids. So but he's very proud. Okay, Paulo, you got to stop that. Your buddy's killing me today. He just keeps thinking he's funny, keeps walking by me and he's going like this to me. He thinks it's funny.
Paolo, stop.
But anyway,
Well,
he's
Karyn, I'll let you go. Thank you very much for everything, and I'll
thank
speak to you
you.
soon.
Thank you. And I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for watching. Something is Up is still at the very beginning, so every bit of support makes a huge difference in my ability to bring you more amazing stories and incredible guests. If you enjoy this conversation and feel called to support the channel, I'd be super grateful if you could just click the like and subscribe buttons and share the video with anyone you think might enjoy. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next episode.